We're recording.
It's now 4 o'clock. I'll call this meeting to order. I need a motion to approve the board minutes for April the 1st, 2026.
I'll make a motion to approve board minutes as written.
Second.
Anybody want to make a comment before we go on? Okay,
They're fine.
vote. All, thank you. It's unanimous. We need to approve the payment of claims in accordance with the Indiana State Board of Accounts, Code 5-11-10-1.6 brackets C.
Make a motion to approve the claims.
Second motion.
Thank you. Discussion. Paying the claims. You have anything comment to make about them? You're pretty good about watching them, Richard, looking at
I
them.
went through them, I know what they are.
Nothing you want to comment on?
No, I went through them, they were,
Okay.
were fine.
Okay, let's have a vote on that then. Thank you. It's unanimous. The next regular meeting will be held on Wednesday, May the 6th, 2026 at 4 p.m. in this room. Public comment. Mrs. Anderson has joined us today, and she's going to make a comment, so
I am. Only if
Soon
you'd like
you
to.
If you'd like to, just here.
you're just a visitor to...
Yeah,
Well, welcome. Thank you for being here.
yes.
Even if you do have a comment, thank you for being here.
I might later.
You got Dustin.
I appreciate your opportunity asking me.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Old business.
No.
Okay. New business, approve the Peru Sewage Works SRF disbursement request number 75 to Lockmuller Group, attachment 6A.
Make a motion to approve attachment 6A.
Second motion.
Okay. Is there any discussion about this at all?
Same thing we've done.
I know, but
Four.
that's okay. All right. No discussion. Let's vote. Thank you. Unanimous. Approve the Peru B. Approve the Peru Water Utility SRF disbursement request number 13 to Watson Excavating, 6B.
Make a motion for approval of request 13.
Thank
I'll
you.
second it.
Thank you. Any discussion we have on this? No discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Unanimous. C, approve the water utility SRF disbursement request number 14, Whistler Engineering.
Make a motion to accept attachment 6C.
Second the motion.
Thank you. Any discussions on this?
That's a lot of money.
Okay.
Multiple water, municipal water utilities, that was that one. This is another one.
Yes.
For $1,250,283.
Yeah, they're two different attachments.
No, it's previous. This disbursement is $20,389.
Right.
Oh, there it is, okay. Okay, is there any discussion now? Nothing. All right, vote please. Unanimous. D. Approve Hazen and Sawyer contract, attachment 6D.
Make a motion to approve attachment 6D as stated.
Second it.
So this is the contract for inspection, construction oversight, and support for Hazen and Sawyer, their engineering firm, for the long-term control plan storage portion So phase 2 of the long-term control plan, however you want to do it. And it's for $3,016,553.27. But this is over 2.5 years, and it's basically the biggest thing is the inspection to make sure they're using the materials to the specifications that our engineers put forth in the bid, and helping them. I mean, obviously we're the ones holding them accountable, but the state requires us to have oversight. And they were the lowest bid, as we talked about before, and so we're asking for approval for that. And now that we closed on both loans this morning, we have all of the funds sitting, we can make the approval for this. And I would also say, that this is not the contract or the engineer design for the system. So this gives us another. This is Hazen and Lockmuller designed the system. Hazen and Sawyer is the engineer that's actually building the wastewater plant right now. This gives us another angle to look at making sure the process works. A very experienced engineer in these projects. Make sure the process works. And if there are ways that, and if you remember, we get invoices and the actual costs of all materials and of the work in this process because of the way we did the contract. So if there's a way for us to do it right, and they see a change that we can make that doesn't cost as much as what was quoted, then we have the ability to do that with another set of eyes, another view.
So that's the end of our discussion. So anyone else have any comment? Then we'll have a vote, please. It's unanimous. Eve? Approve the recommended lead service line phase 2 replacement contractor.
Make a motion to approve National Industry Maintenance.
Second it.
Discussion?
So I thought Zach and I had a few conversations about this, and Zach has some extremely relevant questions due to his literal nut and bolt knowledge of the water and water systems, and I thought we don't normally talk about how in-depth and involved this type of engineering and contract goes. So I thought this is just the project manual for what each contractor gets for specifications. You're welcome to look at it if you want. So each contractor, we hired Westler for the lead service line project, and they actually, with Jamin and his folks, actually put together a project manual for the project with specifications, and all of it has to be IDIM, state, and federally funded procedures approved. And so I thought maybe just if you'd bear with me, it's adjacent to our conversation. Just pull up a couple pages of this contract when it talks about materials, and if you'll just bear with me, it might take just a second here.
How many pages is that?
460, I believe. But I'm not going to go through all that, but it may be interesting for you guys to. So this is the manual. This is for phase 2, but we'll start at 311. And just general requirements and summary of work. So it goes through what type of excavation, 725 customer side water service lines, and that's relevant to the fact that their bid was $4,846,399.35. I don't know where they get the 35 cents from, but that was for the 725 customer side water service lines and the 700 utility side water service lines. That's into the mains. Obviously, that's way less than the $8.8 million we have left after engineering and oversight. So they bid this as a per piece bid, and so we will continue that until the funds are gone, replacing as many lead lines and lead service lines into the customer's home as we possibly can with that money, just like we're doing on the initial $5 million. So, I mean, we go through everything, what the contract looks like. That's kind of the beginning, but then if you go down, if we go to, it allows me to, I'm just going to go through a couple of pages. So we start with part of the biggest thing is standards, right? So do we allow them to say pick any valve or pick any meter pit or any type of work or low quality materials or low quality work? So it has to go through every one of all of these regulatory requirements. OSHA, Indiana State Construction Standards, State Building Rules, Fire Marshal, IDIM, Department of Natural Resources, I mean, all of these, Army Corps of Engineers, local ordinances, laws, state and federal regulations. So they have to comply with all of these, with all of our contracts. And then they go through all of those individually in there. Oops. How we test and inspect, that's important. It needs to, what their quality assurances is and how they test and prepare for this test and what exact tests they do for, to make sure that these work in the long term. So I always complain, you hear me complain a lot about red tape and the fact that things cost more because we have to hire all these engineers, we have to do all of these things. And I stand by that for the most part, but this is why. This is why a lot of this is. How we handle equipment, materials, storage, components, apparatuses, environmental hazards, all of these things have to be addressed because we don't want any gray area. Well, that's not in the contract. I can do what I want with whatever this material is. That's not in the contract. I can put this ball valve in or I can put this. And again,
What you were asking.
the questions that Zach asked are so relevant because he understands that inferior products or the fact that we require American-made products in certain things, but they might be able to slip in other products that have different coatings that may be more readily available and cheaper, but deteriorate faster.
And that consists of the lead line going from the hookup on the main
Right.
to the house, right?
Right, correct. Through the meter pit to the house. So it's even something as simple as stormwater pollution prevention and erosion control during construction standards. Where does the stormwater go? If they have a pit, where can it be stored? It just little things like that. We'll get to some things more relevant. They have trenching, backfilling. We have regulations of compaction. So when they backfill, they have to have certain standards for compaction. And then it kind of comes down to the more important, replacing the lead service line and what codes they have to go by for the replacement of the piping and tubing. And these little standards, I'll get to the good stuff here. There we go. So here's, obviously we have to say, well, where are we doing this at? So all of the purple is the lead service lines we're going to, with this $10 million initially, we're gonna look at and replace. The blue, we're also gonna replace, but that is the path where the long-term control plan is gonna go, because we're talking about two different projects, which will be partially funded by the long-term control plan. The main connections will be, but from the pit to the house will be funded by the lead service line. So that's the area we're looking at. We're already in 5 and 6, right here, 5 and 6 for the first $5 million. So they're working in that now. It's a different contractor, so now we can do these in parallel, if it works out that way. And whatever we have left, we feel like we're going to look at zones 1 and 2 and work our way that way, as far as money-wise from that $10 million. And as I said, we're going to do as many as we can.
The surveying, Josh, do we have lead service lines, say in like zones 3, 12, 13? 14, or does the surveying potholing come back that those are not?
Well, they have to
Or
be,
galvanized.
because we don't know, we do.
Okay,
You know what I mean? As far as our map goes, because we don't know, it's automatically, we have lead in those areas.
okay.
Because we have no record in their soil.
So it's an unknown, so they have to assume that we have to
So they'll go
survey.
back in, we pothole those as we go, really in the same manner if we get back up into that area. There's no funding for that at this point.
In general, all the digging that we've done in town over the years, almost everything between the river and the railroad tracks either is or was lead.
Okay.
And for these projects, if you have galvanized that ever was downstream from lead, that needs to be replaced too, because the galvanized can hold the lead particles even after you remove the lead.
So the issue it wasn't.
Yeah.
And that's where our problem is. So then again, we go back to the specs. These are what we give. You have to put. These are the specs that we have, and you have no choice but to do it in this manner. And this is what we give our contractors, and how it connects to the main, what type of ball valve, what type of this is. The core stop shall be Ford FB 1000 or Mueller 300, ball type, extra heavy, all brass. And then the type of PVC that we use, and we have those for every setup: 1 inch, 3/4 inch meters. There's a 3/4, 5/8. So we have all of those detailed drawings and things they have to abide by. So again, that is all in here, as well as wage standards, and then lastly, something that's important to us that we require all of our large contractors to have is they have to use our safety program to make sure they're qualified to work in our system. So this is 20 pages of their responsibility, how they need to comply, what their work history is, how many accidents they've had, what their rating is, and that's in the initial bid. Like, you have to be able to provide all this, so that's important to us. And do we have any questions on that? I mean, you guys can look at that all you want to, and take your time with that, and I can actually email you this whole thing if you.
Can I ask a question, Josh?
Sure.
So in that, it also talks, and I get a lot of questions on this, so that's why I'm asking. When they get done with the project and they repair the street, are they just gonna spot pave over these access points? Are they gonna, do the whole street? What's?
No.
Yeah.
On the lead service line stuff,
Yeah.
they're gonna
Just do this,
pave, compact, and then let it sit, and then pave.
pave just on those spots?
Yeah.
And that's pretty standard from what I see on lead service line
Okay.
projects, because you're funding, you're trying to make it, well, you're trying to be conscious of that, so. I mean,
And the IFA, state board, or not the state board, the SRF wouldn't allow us to pave a street with that money.
No.
It has to be
I just want to double
restoration.
check because, and I know that like this wasn't a lead service line project, but like, there's several streets that must have been the water line. I don't know where it was replaced and they just, covered it with concrete, whereas the rest of the street is asphalt.
Well, the city required us to cover it with concrete at one time.
Really?
Yeah. And we don't know why
Yeah.
they
I'd like
required
know
us to
why
do that.
too.
They.
That's Washington Avenue.
It was at the insistence of the current street, not this guy, but the street department manager at the time required it. So it increased the cost. I mean, if we did that on this lead service line, it would increase the cost. I mean, we'd get we'd get half of what we're going to get with this probably.
Well, thanks for answering
Yeah.
that question.
James?
We know some of these streets are ones that the street department has been planning on paving. And so we've been letting them know that we're gonna be here and to postpone that. So some of these may get paved sooner because they're on the street department list. And just, these are getting postponed until after we're done tearing them up.
I was impressed this morning in the dark. The compaction is pretty decent. It took a misstep on it with a road bike.
Hmm.
We made it.
Good.
And I was like, all right, I didn't know.
It was a heavy rain, sometimes that does a lot of damage to these
They-
patches.
It took it pretty well.
Zach, you had a question, I think.
Well, no. Yeah, I guess one. So does Wessler and each one of the bidding contractors get a copy of the spec when they bid it? Okay.
Well, Wessler's the one that helps us write it. So Wessler's,
And then they
send that out.
distribute it to them.
They distribute it to them, and they actually go through the bidding contractors line by line to make sure that we've,
You can't submit a bid unless you are a plan holder. So you've gotten a set of plans from Wessler, and we had a mandatory pre-bid meeting that you can't submit a bid unless you've been to that meeting.
Okay. And kind of the reason I brought it up to Josh was, we train and deal with a lot of the contractors in this area. National Industrial Maintenance was one that I wasn't necessarily familiar with, so I talked to 2 other local communities that have used Wessler and this particular contractor. And one of the things was the one community had to bring up to them because they were using a valve that wasn't within their specification. And then as Josh brought up, the one on service line materials, really important. Service line materials, obviously, Jamin and his guys, we don't want them going out to change subpar material. They were very responsive to the other community. One was Bluffton, one was Kendallville. With Bluffton, as soon as they brought it up to them, that this National Industrial Maintenance immediately corrected it. And then the other one in Kendallville, I was speaking to Jamin about it before, they were backfilling with lime, which can be corrosive to the copper service line materials if you pothole down to them. Scott brought it up to them and they immediately corrected it. So it did appear that they're newer to the lead service line replacement in the area, but both those said that Wessler has been very supportive for them in correcting just a couple of little things that they had dealt with. So,
and we do get that. I mean, contractors are there to make money, so you really have to watch them, and even if they don't intend to short you, they still find ways to cut some corners here and there. So yeah.
they're there.
I'm glad you reached out to them
So,
to at least have that conversation.
I was just curious with never seeing that name before, or recognizing that particular contractor. So,
Mary, that's all I had. That's all my comments.
Okay.
But again, we recommend National Industrial Maintenance.
Okay, thank you for that, leading that discussion. And may we have a vote, please? It's unanimous. Next is the approved 2026 electric rate increment adjustment CPI-U. Attachment 6F.
Go ahead. I'll make a motion to approve attachment 6F as stated.
Second it.
Thank you.
So this is the ordinance required CPI-U, Consumer Price Index utility, the inflationary review based on the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission's numbers. We don't make this up. I know I say this every time, but it's important. We don't make these numbers up. It is the calculation the IURC gives us. Even though we aren't under their jurisdiction, we still use their guidance. And so we put that to our electric rates annually for approval in June. The city council, and this year with that calculation is the increase is 0.9%. This of course doesn't apply to the tracker. The tracker is the tracker, and that's it. Our pass-through energy costs increase and decrease. And
It'd be 0.09.
well, as far as percentage goes, it would be 0.009. That's the multiplier.
0.00, okay.
Yeah, so it's 0.9, it's less than 1%. So the reason we do this, and we have this instituted throughout all of our utilities, is simply because we don't want to come back in 5, 6, 7, 8 years and say, by the way, we need 10, 15% increase because we're not keeping up with inflation. Again, transformers are still 4 times what they were in 2021. I mean, but this helps us operationally moving forward. And again, it's 0.9%. So I'll show you the graphic here, but I want to share it. So here's the comparisons. And this is with the tracker added in because that's actually what the price of electricity is. So the current rate's 12.1775 cents. This would make it 12.2862 cents. Customer charge goes from $10.20 to $10.29. Our total charge for 1,000 kilowatts, which is a basic customer in off seasons, not dead winter or dead of the summer, is around 1,000 kilowatts for a 2 to 3 bedroom home, 1,200 square feet. So the difference is about $1.17 with the tracker and everything. And again, this doesn't apply to the tracker, but if you look at, and I'll provide the city council with this graph this next time, so they can have this. If you look at where we're at, we have one tracker, and I'm going to show you this. I don't think I've ever showed you this before, but Duke's 185 for the first 1,000 kilowatts with customer charge, 150 for Heartland, 166 for Miami Cass, 224, almost $225 at NIPSCO for the first 1,000 kilowatts. AES Indiana is 145, and we'll be at 133. For 1,000 kilowatts. And even if you look at the cost per kilowatt, if you take out the customer facilities charge, we are still by far, for the most part, lower than everyone else. So it's a good benefit to the community. Again, it's $1.17. So something interesting, if you've ever, we talk about the tracker, right? So those are considered riders. Here's all the rates that NIPSCO have. Those are considered riders on your electric rate. NIPSCO has this many riders. Starts here at 670. Now they're not all pluses. They have that many riders. This is AES's riders. So most of these are pluses. So they have a base rate like we do. That's what we just 0.9% on the base rate, right? And then, and this is Duke Energy's riders on the residential side. So they have all sorts of stuff. They have energy efficiency credit. They have RTO fees, reliability fees, renewable energy project fees, load control fees, generation cost trackers, fuel cost trackers, environmental compliance adjustments, and social program adjustments that we don't have to abide by, that they do because they're an IAB. So just general information. Just the point of all this is that it's going to be a 0.9 cent increase that'll go in front of the council. And that is mandated by Ordinance 6/2023 on an annual basis.
What was that ordinance again?
It's number 6/2023. That's all I have, Mary.
Thank you. Okay, we've had our discussion for letter F, so now we need a vote. And it's unanimous. G. Approved substation 3, maintenance quote, attachment 6G.
Make a motion for 6G.
Second.
Discussion, please.
This is the one we was talking about earlier when one out to the south.
Yeah, sub 3. I believe the last paragraph says we originally budgeted $40,000 for the project, but opted to add testing and potential transformers that are on the line as well as spares to make sure that they're working in working condition as well. So in that particular line item, we had $40,000 budgeted on the CapEx. We also have another additional $50,000 in distribution reliability upgrades, and PTs are part of the distribution reliability upgrades. So that we have plenty of money there that was approved in the capital budget. It's the same thing, but you gotta put them in different buckets. So that money's there. And whatever left will go in the DRU.
Are we ready for a vote? All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous, thank you very much. Moving on. Going to the city administrative update. Who's that?
Mr. Fisher?
Mr. Fisher? Mr. Stevenson? That's who it is, okay.
Or Mr. Stevenson?
Yeah, the mayor, he's didn't provide me with any information, so, and in addition to what I shared in the last meeting, I don't have anything. We have a couple of projects, well, more than a couple, that I can't speak on yet until we kind of finalize things. So hopefully in the next month, to two at the latest, there will be several projects that I can, share, that are coming down the road. Trying to think of anything else that, well, the golf course is getting ready. I don't know if we shared this, but there was a change in the superintendent of the golf course. So if there's any discussions that have to occur, Cliff Helvey is the new superintendent of the golf course, which he also is the superintendent of parks. But there's been some kind of shifting around of folks, and he's taken over that responsibility. So any issues related to the golf course should be addressed to him. And that's all I can think of right offhand.
I don't have anything.
And that was you, Destin, that said.
No, that was
That was you,
Drew.
Mr. Stevens. I wasn't looking, I was still writing, sorry. Okay, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Fisher, for bringing that to us. So we go to the city attorney.
Nothing at this time.
He was instrumental on closing all of these loans.
Closing the loan.
Closing all the bonds that we've had. He was kind of that first line, that first filter through to Ice Miller and Baker Tilly, and they all worked really well together. So it was a pleasure to have him and how well he works and how hard he works for us.
Well, but we got all the necessary documents to the necessary people in order to close at a necessary time.
That's the important thing, right?
Thank you very much. Sound just
Nothing to
perfect like a
report.
lawyer would say, and that was great. Okay, the manager's report.
Thank you, Mary. Detrash the Wabash. It's on again, April 25th at 9 a.m. to noon at the wastewater treatment plant, 221 West Riverside. And I stole these from our stormwater coordinator, Nick Parkman, but a few fun facts. There have been 33 Detrash the Wabash events beginning in 2008 and roughly 2,000 volunteers since then. That's quite a big number. They've walked and cleaned nearly 500 acres of the Wabash River over and over again, and roughly 25,000 pounds or 12.5 tons have been collected over these years. So it's a great thing, a great program, and we hope to see as many people there as can get there. It's going to be a good spring. And
What are you gonna do about the people that live under the bridge? Are they considered trash or what?
No.
Pardon?
no, we just pick up the trash. Yeah.
We just clean it up to them and that's.
Yep, for the most part.
Okay.
If the encampments are abandoned, we clean the encampments.
If you what?
If the encampments are abandoned, we clean the encampments. We clean them up. We take everything away. If they are not, then we do not. We don't.
Someone has to be sitting there.
We don't disturb them. No.
Yeah,
No. We won't.
their
We won't. do that.
belongings.
Okay.
That's where the new law in July comes in, right?
Moving on. So currently, we're dealing with some issues with the new UV system at the Peru wastewater plant. It's causing us to have some effluent exceedances. There are 36 communication modules throughout the UVs, and the manufacturer believes that they were a bad batch. So they're being replaced starting yesterday. They're doing that now. Other contributing factors would be that we have half the plant down because it's in construction and we've had a ton of rain. So that's not helping any. And when you have a new plant and a new process, you've got to look at new processes and how things work. We believe that working with the engineers and those folks to see if there's any ways we can change our process to make it easier, better, and more efficient. We are in constant contact with IDEM because, quite frankly, we've never had an exceedance before on the effluent. Right? We've never dealt with what comes next. We know that there's always some leeway during construction because these things happen. And again, Jamin and his people they're in open communication with IDEM about what's next, and we're really leaning heavily on them about what's next and how we respond to this. But we're also offering alternatives for temporary chemical treatment. We can bring in some temporary chemical treatment on the backside to mitigate anything further in a timely fashion, because that doesn't happen tomorrow until we get that portion of it worked out. Anything to add on that? So there could be a letter.
Are we going to eat the cost of that replacement?
Absolutely
of the
not.
bad batch?
Absolutely not.
No. Okay.
We've put the contractor under. We gave them a formal letter saying, "Boo, this is unacceptable," because that's the process you have to follow through in these contracts.
I did read that part.
So they're on notice, and it has to be fixed. And again, during construction, we expect things operationally that may be different, just because of construction and because of the fact that it's a new process, kind of. And so.
Yeah, we're confident we're gonna work this out, but currently it's not working, so thought you ought to be aware.
Yeah, you need to be aware, and there may be a letter from IDEM. Hey, look, you have an exceedance, and we're not
Are you
gonna hide
gonna get
anything.
fined over
it's
that?
no, they're just gonna say, hey, look, this is what's happening. We recognize this, and we also recognize that you're under construction. So, and then we'll work together with them hand in hand. They're great. IDEM's really, honestly, IDEM gets a bad rap sometimes from people, but if you communicate with them, they're more than happy to help you out, because they don't like writing these letters, or they don't like finding people. They don't like doing any of that. They just want to make sure that you're successful, and they really, for us, they really do a good job for us. So with us, so we just thought we would let you know this is part of the process when you're constructing a plant and getting new equipment in like this. So.
They're going to throw us behind.
On that incident when the gate had to be manually closed and, some time ago, was anything ever come from that?
No, we're just required to report it.
Okay.
Yeah, to them. Now, if we didn't report it, absolutely, yeah. There'd be a nice letter and an NOV probably, but yeah, things like that, spills, we just have to report it within a certain time. Was it 24 hours? I can't remember. Yeah.
24 hours of when you perceive the event happening, and then there's a formal. You report it to IDEM one way or another. Generally, we just call our inspector and then send an email to Monument that, memorialize that, and then there's a bypass overflow incident report that gets filed to IDEM's WW reports for a permanent record.
Yeah. And things that the thing a lot of people don't know is when things like this happen, the reason, obviously, health and safety is the reason we take this most importantly. But the reason, one of the other reasons why it matters so much is that the person's name on this is the person that's the operator of record, the licensee. It's that guy right there. On the water side, it's those two people in there. and whoever's signing the paperwork, which is another operator of ours. So this is it's important on the health and safety side, for sure. But they could personally.
My job rides on this.
They could personally be sued for this if they're negligent. They're found negligent. So, you know, overall it's extremely important that all of this gets done and it gets done correctly. So again, this is not something we've experienced before. So again, we're going to rely heavily on IDM and their guidance and work together with them. We don't see a huge problem coming or anything like that. It's something you guys need to know. On to happier things. So Peru Utilities has been awarded the American Public Power Safety Award of Excellence for Safe Operating Practices for 2025, which is the diamond level, but I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to let this guy talk about it.
Yeah, so on this American Public Power Association Safety Awards of Excellence, this is the electric department and the supporting staff for the electric department. So essentially anybody that's in the administration, anybody that collects money, anybody that talks to customers on the electric side is included in this. So about 32 employees, not just the linemen, this is 32 employees. So we have to track if they have accidents. When they have accidents, are they off work? Are they restricted? We have to track the amount of hours they have. So those 32 employees, there were 56,355 hours worked. We had 2 injuries in 2025 that met the level of OSHA saying this is an injury. However, we had no time restricted. They went right back to work doing what they were doing before, and no one was off work for any period of time. That's regulated with what's called a DART rate. And so the DART rate this year was 0. So that allows us to get in our Group C, based on 56,000 hours, another diamond award. So 23, 24, 25. So now we're 3 years consecutive at the diamond level, which is the highest award. There's about 1,400 APPA members, and I think it's around 200 reach this diamond level. So we're 10 to 12% in that high range. So we're doing quite well. It's a testament to the guys working safe, yes. So those are your lagging indicators, and they also in this award want to see your leading indicators. Is there a way for the employees to report close calls? Is there training going on? Are the guys showing up and doing what they're supposed to be doing? Are there safety policies? Are there policies to keep them from, or to allow, excuse me, to allow them to have the right clothing for the job? So on the lagging indicators, we did well. And then on the leading indicators also, we're doing a very good job. So this is a direct result of the people doing the work, getting the work done, and doing it safely.
And so that's not just a one sheet. Like there's a lot involved in, you know, when was your last arc flash study? And you have to produce when your last arc flash study was and the results of that. And if it was deficient in areas, did you address it? You know, it's not just, hey, here's your hours, woohoo, yay us. It is your program, your entire safety program. So it's a testament to Lee. It's a testament to the safety managers before and the program that they built and what Lee's built upon. And it's a testament to everybody that's here and how they want to go home at night, including everyone in this office, because we've had injuries in the office just from simple things. So once again, we've proven that we take that very seriously. And very proud.
And the dollars and cents side of this too is that on the workers' comp side, we're consecutively low. There's an experience modification rate that runs at 1. So whatever job classifications you have, 1 would be the benchmark. And anything you can do less than that would be better. And as a company, we're around 0.8. So we're receiving a 20% discount to the tune of around, I believe it was 18,000 or 20,000 this past year
on our insurance. Yeah.
And there was maybe one bad year back in 22 or something will fall off this next year, and so we could see an even larger reduction for next year, as long as we continue along how we have been.
Exactly, and we anticipate, and our goal is always 0. Zero injuries, 0 days off in all departments. And it's unfortunate there's no American Water for us to really gauge how water's doing. It's kind of, I feel crappy. Part of me feels kind of crappy that we don't have the opportunity to recognize the water for all the safety they do. I mean, this is a complete effort, safety-wise, because even on the water side, we had some vehicle accidents that weren't our people's fault. It was the other vehicle's fault. So they wouldn't have counted to this workman's comp wise. They had a stellar safety record over there as well. So even if we included them, we'd still be a diamond through APP according to their standards. So it's 56 people doing the right thing for the right reasons, and wanting to go home at night to their families. So good, Lee?
Yes.
So congrats to them. So. All right, I'm not done with praise. So we've also been awarded the additional award, the Reliable Public Power Provider (RP3). It's a diamond member by APPA. So there's the thing. There's the actual award. We'll get one for a plaque for them. I don't know.
They shipped them out yesterday.
Yeah. So we talked about the application. This is the application for the RP3. So again, this isn't a one sheet, hey, what's your power look like?
Whole book.
Where's my paper? I have some notes on that. I didn't want to do it twice, but yeah, it's not a small book. So this, the RP3 ratings, they're issued once every 3 years. We're diamond for the next 3 years. We were platinum the previous 3 years. COVID kind of threw us a loop. We were diamond the 3 years before that. So consecutively, we've been of the best of the best. Of the 1,400 members of APPA, there were 61 this time, with including the current members that were diamond. 2 in Indiana, us and Tell City. That's it. So that's absolutely amazing. And so what it measures is every aspect of the utility operations, and they use metrics. So it's not like you can do this. So your outage was only this long. Your outage is ever. They use the metrics on reliability, on safety, on employee development, financial health, infrastructure improvements, cybersecurity, and quite a few other things. But they even go down to what's your cybersecurity like? What's your safety program look like? What's your financial health of your utility? Are you living paycheck to paycheck, so to speak? So again, this and you have to send in your org chart. You have to send in appraisal performance forms, and how often you do those. So it's a measurement of your utility as a whole. And so I'm super proud of those guys and the girls up here, because they are a part of this. So once again, we have to live up to that rating for the next 3 years and go forward again. But 61 members of the 1,400, and we're one of 2 in Indiana with the diamond. There were others, 1 platinum, 2 platinums, and 1 gold, I think. So there was like 5 overall in the 3 in Indy, 5 or 6 in Indiana. So proud of it, man. Proud of it. Everybody works hard here.
That's a lot to do with our leadership.
You know what? They take that into their own hands, and they take control of that. So,
But if you blew it off, then so would they. There you go. Gotta accept it.
thank you. I don't. Okay. Because they care.
Doesn't he still owe you a picture from the last set of awards? Didn't you say you wanted to get a picture of him holding the plaque? He still owes you a picture.
Mike, we had it was an APBA conference, the engineering operations conference. Mike went to, and he actually accepted these awards on stage, so it was pretty cool. And then they put up a picture of the utility guys and all the pictures with a line truck, and they were in their uniforms and Peru Utilities. And so we actually got up on the big stage during a major conference, a national conference. So that was pretty cool. I didn't go to that one, but Mike did. And finally, just a reminder that the 6th of May is the next meeting, so that's 3 weeks from today, not 2 weeks from today, because we have the 5 Wednesdays and this. That's all I have.
Can I ask you a question before we
Absolutely.
adjourn? How about that generator?
Which generator? The one we just
The
put
one
in?
I called, the one I called. you
Oh.
about. Generator
It was
on
gone. It was
electric.
gone the next day. It was gone.
Gone the next
The
day.
the officers went and looked at that that evening, and it was gone. Now I'm not saying it didn't come back, but it's as far as I know, it's.
Was
been
there any
gone.
way we could help that individual and reinstate him in the electric?
Not until they paid the bill.
You hate writing
Yeah,
off bad debt.
Now,
I
if you
don't
wanna,
like bad debt, but this is the circumstances where a lady died, and it brought up the circumstance where somebody didn't pay the bill.
Her son hasn't paid the bill, he's the one living there.
And before they can hook it back up, he's got to make restitution for all.
There's some more nuances in the account that I don't want to discuss a private account. There's some more nuances in there about getting
Well, I'm
restored,
not
and I'm
bringing
not going
up
to treat
names,
one
I mean-
person different than we treat other people.
Yeah, so where's the story?
there are groups on social media that help raise money for people who have issues paying their utilities. So, I mean, if you know someone
I
who
believe
does
he
need
has
help,
service again. That person has service again. I'm not 100%. I believe.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering how that all turned out.
if you hear of someone that needs help, there's groups on social media that will help.
Oh, you?
If you.
We also have a list up
I
front
will,
that
I'll
they
send
get.
you a link if it helps them out, Rich.
Yeah.
Richard, if you feel it in your heart, you can always open your checkbook.
Michelle, say that again, please.
We also, anybody that calls in,
Yeah, good.
we have a list of agencies that we give them to help them.
Right, and we provide those every time, and then how to get LIHEAP and all the state stuff. I mean, we provide that a lot. Because we don't want.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I see the building, the canal in Miami is down.
It's down.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's ready to go. We got the money. It's in the bank as of today, this morning.
Start building.
We're ready to go. Engineering, we should get the 100% drawing soon.
There's a stack of boxes I haven't opened.
So I'm sure those
The
will be
new
drawn
drawings.
Are we generating interest higher than what we're paying back the loan on?
Oh, we can't work.
for.
In the savings account it's sitting in?
Don't know for sure. It will be very close, yes, because of loan 357, and those interest rates, Boney, are somewhere in that range. I don't have that figure in front of me.
Really nice.
But yeah, but you know what? That's kind of factored into the overall repayment is the interest we gain while we're building the project, and we haven't completely depleted those funds, and that interest goes back into the project, into the debt service reserve. So it's kind of figured in when we do the rate that we're going to get a certain interest over the 2 years that we'll have $86 million in the bank. We will for 6 months. We're going to gain full interest on that in 4 months, and then when we start really doing the project, we'll deplete quickly. So.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
What's Peru Utility's stance regarding data centers in the county, in the city?
Peru Utility stance is that we have to serve whoever comes in.
Okay, but would that be sort of a separate entity? A lot of cities are doing this, but they're making the data centers pay all of the expenses, so what do you mean?
We would absolutely do that.
You would set it,
Ours-
sort
okay,
of set
so
it
that's-
aside so
if-
that we, the ratepayers, will not see an increase.
If that's where you're
because of
going,
what-
then.
That's exactly where
Okay.
I'm going.
So what we would require them to pay for studies that we'd ask for. We would require them to put money in an escrow for the cost of every type of material. We would also charge them for some of our time so that the ratepayers do not supplement any investment into any type of data center. We to be honest with you, we do. If we were to have a large manufacturer come in, we do the same thing for the most part. We have a 30-month match that we do. There's a calculation there, but for a data center that is a huge risk, you know what I'm saying?
It is, because a
Why
lot
would-
of them are going bankrupt
Why
now.
would we're not in the business of investment. We're in the business of serving our ratepayers, right? We don't take taxpayer money. Everything has to be supported by utilities. So water's different, electric's different, right? So we would never invest or experiment with ratepayers' money. All that money would have to go in an escrow And we would put forth, these are the equipment that we need, these are the services that we need to serve you, and they would pay for that upfront.
So they pay for all the expenses?
Absolutely.
Putting it in?
Absolutely.
Okay, it's good to hear.
And we have discussions with Indiana Municipal Power is who our
Right.
power purchase agreement is
Right.
with. And we have, and they have to be in that mix because something like that would be such a huge user that it would be the joint transmission system or the bulk electrical system, whatever you want to call it. That was really where it would have to come from. But because we would be, if it were in our jurisdiction, we would be the agent, the seller of the energy. So we would work closely with them, and then we have agreements with them for something as specific as a large user like that, that would shift the burden that could be on a ratepayer or a joint action agency, an RTO, regional transmission operator, IMPA, sorry, that their users or their ratepayers don't pay for that money's upfronted by the data center or the large user like that.
Have you had any inquiries?
We get them all the time, but it's just basic. Hey, do you have a gigawatt of electricity spare? And we're like, of course not. You know what I mean? So really, they're just fishing, a lot of them, and most of them are developers or engineers, and so they say, oh, you have the extra capacity. Oh, well, do you have land? Oh, you got land. So let's try to find a end user. We'll sell the end user on your community.
Well, there was a rumor that Google was trying to get a developer in here.
We haven't talked to anybody. We've talked to developers. We haven't talked to anybody that's, so. Now we've talked to plenty of people, don't get me wrong. We've had high level meetings with a couple of people. But it's.
But they don't get back to you?
Most of them don't. Yeah. Most of them it's just a basic, well, what's it gonna cost? Well, because, just the extension for a JTS extension to Peru for that type of energy, is in the hundreds of millions.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
But they seem to have umpteen billions of dollars,
Well,
you know?
Yeah. Sure they do. Yeah. So, if they pay for it and they provide the studies, we have to provide power. We can't opt out of providing power for them or water. I mean, we could probably have a 2-hour discussion if you'd like.
Would their rate be different than us?
Because they buy it off the BES, yes. Yeah. But that would be something that is negotiated through the regional transmission people. It wouldn't even be negotiated. They would skip us. We would be the billing partner. We'd get a very small amount of it, but for very little effort at the end, which could be beneficial, right? Because we're selling more power to one person. We didn't pay for the investment,
right? And
then that money, it would be like a cost plus, or what it costs to service them plus whatever the adder is, and that adder would just be what we could spread out to other ratepayers as far as energy prices go. Down, not up, because they're not paying for anything.
Right.
That's just this. I'm just talking for, like, you know what I mean. I'm just talking in general, so I don't want it to get it construed that.
Right.
Yeah.
And Josh, along the lines of what Elaine said, and you said about the data center developer would pay for all of the additional costs and additional infrastructure. Is that a mandated, as far as you know, mandated by the state?
There's some EOs out there, but I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of one that is at this point.
No. And
But
I'll tell you why, real quick.
Yeah.
So I was with a group that toured a small data center in Hammond.
Right.
Which isn't representative of, you know, I wish I hadn't gone. But anyway, you know, the owner of the data center said there are state mandated regulations that say you have to do, and half of what he said I questioned, but that part I wasn't sure about.
There were some proposed laws. There was some proposed legislation. I gotta be honest with you, I don't know if any of them passed. I know there was an EO from, I think, the president saying that they have to, or maybe it was the governor. I don't remember.
I think it was Ron.
Yeah, maybe it was the governor, that they have to
had
pay
for
for it.
their own way.
But they know that. The ones that we've taught, they know that. They know how to pay for it. Plus, they're paying for some other improvements within the system. We've had talks with one, very low level talks, and we said, hey, look, if we gotta expand water, you're paying for it. We need to know another water power, you're paying for it. Our people aren't paying for it, you're paying for it. And they're like, okay, you know what I mean? So
Doesn't seem to
We
stop them,
haven't,
does it?
got that far yet. Obviously, that's a huge public discussion. But if they find property and they say this is where we're going, we have to serve them. I mean, we're a public utility, and if they're in our jurisdiction as far as power, now water, we don't have to.
Oh, you don't.
If they're in the city, we do. If they're outside the city, we don't technically have to. Now, we probably would.
I'm sorry.
With the right money and the right extension, you're fine. But so where we're at utility wise is we have to serve them, but we can make them pay for it. Yeah, sorry.
But water is my main concern because they would be taking it from the Tays River, correct?
Correct. But the new data centers, they don't use much water.
Well, they do use a lot of water, but it's all relative. 100,000 gallons of water a day seems like a lot to me, maybe not to you. But if we're taking it from our precious supply of
Right.
water,
Well,
we have her under our city and it runs dry, what are we gonna do?
the Taze is not ever going to run dry.
We do a meeting.
But part of that would be a water study that we would.
A water study that you would require them to
Yes,
provide
and
for you?
absolutely, absolutely. We make them pay for it. You guys aren't going to pay for it. That doesn't make sense.
Right.
But we have our estimates, what we've done research-wise with the glycol and how they cool. They're doing a lot of air cool now with their coolers. Even the gigawatt centers could be in that 100 to 150,000 a day. We have an industrial customer that does 3 times that, 2 times that. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's not like it's a.
Well,
That's not a lot. It's not
well,
It's not millions of gallons a day,
right,
right?
right.
The Taze, we're not going to run our water in the Taze. Taze is
like the one up in New Carlisle, Indiana, uses hundreds of thousands of gallons a day,
Yeah.
but it's gigantic.
yeah. It's
So the city of Peru uses 1.5 million gallons a day currently,
1.5,
Yes.
on average. As few as 7 or 8 years ago, we were averaging 2 MGD, 2 million gallons a day.
Yeah.
But because newer appliances and things we've done to tighten up our system, we've reduced our consumption by that many, so.
oh good.
So we have the capacity. We have a couple million gallons in the air at any time, in tanks at any time. Plus, if something like that were to happen, I'm getting to you, I promise. But something like that were to happen, we would force whoever to put a tower next to around their system that would actually benefit other customers in the long run if it was outside the city or whatever. So we would require full accountability from them. We're not worried about the tank, I guess is what I'm saying. Now, if they were using 1 million gallons a day, absolutely not. No, because that we don't want to absorb any resources that we can use for the community later.
But you would have the authority to say no?
On the water side, if it was outside of the city, yes.
If they found land within city limits.
Which is not
We have
happening,
to,
right? You don't have 200 acres for a gigawatt worth of in the city. So yeah, outside of the city, we would do what we can, but we would lean on the study that we told them to do, that they paid for by the people that not their people, by
I
our
was
people.
gonna say,
Our engineer of record, we would use that, our engineer of record, and we would require them to add capacity or whatever, so. We have no intention of putting our ratepayers at risk for something like that.
that's
None. Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. 2 things. Tim, I was on that tour too, unfortunately. They were referring to Missouri for some reason, just to clear that up. I don't know why they were talking about Missouri, but
Okay.
because their power line, something about that. Second, the same data center in Hammond, they are allowed to pull 18 million gallons of water from Lake Michigan a day. So I think that's why when a lot of people went up and toured that, although they are air cooling, the amount of water that they are approved to pull from, granted, Lake Michigan compared to the Taze River, not really there.
Yeah,
But it still remains a concern about what the limit would be.
and that's a federal body of water. That is bureaucrats way outside of Indiana that are making that decision.
We're not involved.
Yeah, this isn't our Taze. I mean, it's a legit concern.
Yeah.
The old ones, it's an absolute legit concern, the older data centers. But all the research that we've done, and in speaking with some of these engineers and developers coming through now, obviously we do our own research because we don't necessarily want a salesman to tell us how we do our thing. And we go farther than the forgive me, Facebook, Google PhD education. we talk with other professionals. I know Frankfurt right now, they're getting ready to, they're gonna have one. Now, it's not a gigawatt, I think it's a couple hundred megawatts. But it just happens to be in at the edge of their territory, and across the street's another territory that the same company's looking at doing across the street in a different electrical territory. That's kind of, and they're an Indiana Municipal Power Agency, one of the 61 communities that we have. And so they're a good reference for me. I've talked to him frequently about what's going on there and how big of a process it was and what his fears are, and so it's kind of like a test subject if something like that were to ever happen here in Peru or be suggested here in Peru. But we have, honestly, we have talked to multiple people just in general, as a general, what you guys have, what can you offer, will you pay for everything, and then they don't usually talk again.
They go to several sites.
Sure.
They know how they operate, and whoever gives them the best deal.
Yeah. And we've never talked to an end user. We've only talked to developers and engineers, which whatever. I mean, we're here for the public. We're here to serve. Mm-hmm. So if they're in our jurisdiction, we do the best we can. We had a 2-hour meeting a couple of weeks ago with one. But they were developers and engineers and weren't the end user, and so we provide them with all the information, and if they request anything, we say, okay, it's going to cost you. So
I know our community is definitely our top priority, but it's the water issue with the exponential growth of data centers is definitely a legitimate concern for the broader spectrum of humanity.
Sure.
In the future.
Across the world,
Yeah.
really, across the nation.
And so I'm not speaking to say yay or nay here, but something that people need to understand and realize. The cost of electricity is based on a couple things, but one of the things that the cost of electricity is even how we buy energy, because we get it off the bulk electrical system, is the cost of transmission. So a portion of everyone's bill is cost of the joint transmission system. Right. So if that data center or that large user goes in a county over, a community over the bottom of the state, we still pay in our energy rates for the hardening and the expansion of the bulk electrical system. It's baked in, and it fluctuates. Honestly, generation and the bulk electrical system maintenance and all of the increases there, that's what's fueling the increases. It's the red tape, and it's that. So I would say we're paying for it anyway, so why not pay somebody to be here? You know what I mean? So that the argument of, well, it's only going to raise our rates, we're paying for it anyway. I'm not advocating for it one way or the other. I'm just saying that's a consideration that we need to make if that is proposed in our community or around our community or our we're paying for it anyway.
At the wholesale cost.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So it's up to, in some places it's up to like 50% of the increase on the cost of energy. We're not there, and I couldn't tell you. I'd have to guess, and I don't want to guess. Ours is way lower than that cost of our energy, but it's part of the JTS and all the expansion. So we're paying for it regardless. If it can benefit and lower our electric rates here.
Yeah, because that's the other thing is if they're here and we're using more, we're buying more, and if we're buying more, we buy it cheaper, which lowers everyone's rates.
And they have a load factor.
So there's a balance that they consume, but they also lower rates for everybody because they buy on a different rate because they're industrial, they're not, but that carries over, the savings carries over to residential. So it can lower your bill as well. So there's...
But again, as long as we don't put the customer at risk.
Right.
Right.
If you do it correctly.
Which is where the question began.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely, and that's a concern. That's a concern we have.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna stand on the table and stomp my feet like a toddler if somebody says, "No, you guys need to pay for this," and you have no choice. I'm gonna be with you guys with pitchforks. Because I don't want to pay for. I'm a ratepayer too. I don't want to pay for it, right? We're all ratepayers.
Yeah, we all are.
We're all ratepayers. We don't want to pay for it.
You have to be a customer to be on the board. So we're all right there with you. We pay for it, So
Well, I mean, I'm always very pleased having utilities. Because I own a farm in North Peru and it's REMC and their rates are astronomical. And also when I have a power outage, it's soon fixed. I mean, I have a generator, so I don't worry about being without power, but
Write her address down, she'll be last on the list.
I'm never last on the list, I swear. It's always a priority, and I'm hardly ever without power. And it might be a tree across, you know, I live on Country Club Road, so you
Oh.
know, up by the golf course, there's lots of trees.
Yeah, that's a
And
problem.
every
there, yeah.
storm, there's trees across.
And you know, we spend like $300,000 to $350,000 a year in tree trimming. And,
Oh, I can believe it.
And it's we actually have to increase that because we got to get because the Country Club Road's awful, and we cut that every I think 2 or 3 years, and everything else is like on a 4-year cycle.
Yeah.
Do you ever miss the family get-togethers with the candles?
Okay, sorry.
Children have never experienced
Good
that.
conversation though.
Yeah, thank you for the question, and you guys are welcome anytime to ask questions.
Thank you very
And
much.
we'll do the
Gotta
best.
wait for
Sometimes I
Mary
may
to
not have the
answer.
answers, but I can just.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Make
Thank
a
you.
motion to adjourn.
Okay, I need a motion for an adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Second, all those in favor?